Who was the biggest influence on women in rock and roll in the 70s, who you've probably never heard of? A trailblazer with a voice that defined ferocity and female rage. This is the story of Suzi Quatro. Suzi Quatro was born June 3rd, 1950 in Detroit, Michigan, to a very musical family. In 1964, when she was 14, she and her sisters watched the Beatles live on Ed Sullivan and decided to start a group called the Pleasure Seekers. They became pretty well known in the Detroit music scene, which was exploding at the time with Motown, rock and roll, and everything in between. Eventually, they changed their name to Cradle, and Suzi really started to take center stage. Around 1970, the legendary music manager Mickey Most, who'd become famous by working with Donovan and Herman's Hermits, saw Cradle live and was specifically taken with Suzi. When Cradle fell apart after a few of the members got married and started families, Suzi moved with Mickey to England to give it a go at becoming famous. And honestly, this turned out to be the right move for her at the time, because America was moving into the singer-songwriter era after the post-psychedelic rock drop-off. England, on the other hand, was on fire. Glam rock was exploding, and Suzi's black leather, short wolf cut aesthetic, combined with her heavily distorted guitar sound and shrieking voice, fit right in. She and her band opened for Thin Lizzy and Slade, and in the spring of 1973, she had her first big-ish hit with Can the Can. Her songs did pretty reasonably well in the UK, but the US just didn't get it, and she got some pretty harsh criticism in publications like Rolling Stone. She even toured with Alice Cooper, another Detroit native, but it didn't really help her in her home country on a mainstream level. But in the underground, those who knew of Suzi were obsessed. Young girls like Joan Jett would discover her work and be influenced to get into making heavier music themselves. And I've been known to stick a proto-punk label on her, because I think that she was just as influential as the New York Dolls or the MC5, or any artist like that. A little later in the 70s, she was still fighting to get noticed in the United States in the same way that she had in Europe. In 1977, her sound pivoted to be a little bit more poppy with her album If You Knew Suzi, which would become her most commercially successful release of her career. Specifically with hits like You Can't Give Me Love, it put her back in the spotlight, but by now the connection with the earlier proto-punk influence had started to fade with the quickly changing tide of the 70s music scene. In recent years, Suzi's work had started to get more recognition, especially in the UK, where her influence on women in the music industry was so pronounced. But personally, I think a lot more people worldwide need to know about Suzi Quatro.